Get ready to go.
All right, welcome into hour two. Ladies and gentlemen, let's we don't know why you do, but we appreciate you. So I wanted to cover something for Bates real quick. Let's jump into it first, and then we'll get into the news of the day, which was obviously say his name. Is it Mykel? What was it again? Mykel. Mykel Williams is a top 30 visit. But I want to hit this because Bates' birthday was just the other day, and he asked, hey, can you guys cover this? So, listen, I seen the chat earlier. I know people don't like AI. I get it. I understand. It could be a very, very, very cool tool if you know how to use it. I'm still learning how to use it. And I literally, within 5 minutes, had an article put together for Bates when he asked about this. You guys have heard there's going to be some potential rule changes right here on the horizon. What are you laughing about?
The face you picked for Goodell.
Oh, yeah, you like that? Like he's just letting you know, man. The first one I had was actually Vince McMahon walking to the ring, but they have photoshopped Roger Goodell. Anyway, here we go. Exactly. The NFL is gearing up for its annual meeting from March 30th to April 1st, 2025, where team owners will vote on several rule change proposals outlined in an article from NFL Football Operations dated March 26, 2025. For a proposal to pass, it needs approval from 75% of the league's 32 clubs, which will be 24 votes. Here's a breakdown of the key changes. So these are some of the stuff that's being mentioned here. Permanent kickoff rule change. All right. What's proposed? The new kickoff format introduced in 2024 will become permanent with some tweaks. This format aims to make kickoffs look more like a scrimmage play. Players align closer together, less space for high-speed collisions, and encourage more returns. The key adjustments changes the alignment of the receiving team in the setup zone. All right. It says moves the touchback spot to the 35-yard line instead of the 30 if the ball lands in the end zone and is down there or goes out of bounds. So they're going to move it up to the 35 if this gets passed. Obviously, the goal here is to try to get them to return that football because many players were or many teams were just kind of kicking it in the end zone going, hey, we'll just let them have it at the 30 because they wanted to put the explosiveness back in the kick return game. And that was kind of their MO. Obviously, I feel like it backfired because last year we've seen probably less. Seems like we've seen less kick returns than we have in a long time. But obviously, that reduces the injury of high-speed collisions while boosting return plays for excitement. Go ahead, Neil.
I still think that I don't know why they're trying to keep moving. We're going to run out of a football field by the time they actually get this thing figured out. It's going to come out to the 50. Like, can we not just move the kicker back 15 yards and let them kick it? Like, then it'll at least just be kissing the goal line. I mean, I don't understand why this is so difficult. Let's just move the kicker back 15 yards and tell him to use his whole leg. Tell Nigel Gruff to kick the bloody piss out of it. And if you get it to the end zone, you get it at the 20 and you're good. If not, all right, return that thing.
Yep. Yeah. And I can't help but laugh when I see it will become permanent. It's like, yeah, right. Until you change it again in a year, whatever.
Hey, the only thing that's permanent in life is everything changes, right, Tim?
That's right.
That was a little Tracy Lawrence for you there. You guys go look that up, all right? Time marches on, circa 1992. Emilio, how old were you in 92?
I was not born.
He was not even alive. You and I were like 10 years old running around the backyard playing football.
In 1992, Emilio's pops was saying, I ain't having no kids. All right. Expanded instant replay. This is interesting. All right. Competition Committee Rule 15. Here's what's proposed. Expand replay assistance to correct, quote, specific objective errors using clear video evidence without requiring a coach's challenge. This could include things like player positioning, clock errors, or game administration issues. Why? It aims to ensure fairness by fixing obvious mistakes quickly, though it might slow the game slightly if overused. Defensive holding, illegal contact penalty adjustment. What's proposed there is removes the automatic first down for these penalties, keeping the yardage penalty at 5 yards, but not gifting the offense a new set of downs. Why? Detroit is a bunch of pansies. Detroit argues the current rule is too harsh on defenses seeking competitive equity. They lead the league with 11 defensive holding calls in 2024. They led the league, so this might be self-interest too. So what do you think about those two rules there? Listen, when it comes to replay, whether it's penalties or not, just get the damn call right. I don't care, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about the replay. Like I never find myself watching a football game going, God, this is taking forever. I do find myself going, boy, they screwed that call up.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's y'all's take on that?
Tim?
You guys know where I stand. I think they're fixated on convincing us they're trying to get it right, but I don't think they're interested in getting it right. I think they're interested in, controlling the flow of the game, so whatever they got to do, I don't know.
Little bit of sleight of hand there, Tim. Go ahead and look at the picture over here, and I'm just going to fix it over here on the other side.
Yeah, and then we'll hear the officials saying, "Oh, we didn't have that camera angle." The one camera that would have showed us, we don't have access.
Somehow
to that.
We don't have it, but you can get a picture after the game's over with, and you can zoom all the way in on your face at any point during the game. That's totally fine in the stands.
They can find me in the stands.
Right.
With a daddy soda looking stupid, but we can't get
the one image.
All 22 cameras for the officials. Yeah.
They can find Jacob hitting on a bartender up there.
Behind the glass, behind 2 layers of glass in the atrium. I mean, unbelievable.
Oh man, I'll tell you, when we met up for the game there that we went to together, I thought he was going to go home with one of the ushers that was letting us in the Lombardi clock exit or entry, I should say, the entrance. Yeah, I looked down there. He had his arm around her and everything. I'm like, you know her? I don't know her. I'm like, there you go. All right, ban on the tush push. This is known as the Green Bay Rule 12, Section 1. Nice. I hate that her name's attached. What's proposed prohibits an offensive player from pushing a teammate lined up directly behind the snapper. Obviously, the quarterback's what we're talking about here. Right at the snap, this targets the Philadelphia Eagles' highly effective tush-push play on short yardage situations. Why? Green Bay wants to outlaw this play, possibly due to its dominance. Philly's used it to great success. Debate exists on injury risk, though NFL data reportedly shows 0% injury rate for it. So, look, I think it's silly. I hate that the Packers were the ones that brung this up, but at the same time, I don't understand why you changed it before. If you were going to have you can't assist the ball carrier, just leave it alone. Why did you ever allow it if all of a sudden now we're going to change it? So I don't know if it'll get changed, but what do you guys think about the tush push? Do you want it changed? Let me just ask you that.
I would say that I don't know. The fact that you have to push them to get them across, I feel like it's an issue. I mean, when I run the QB sneak on college football, Clayton, the dude just takes it and dives right to the right of the center. That's all I ask him to do.
The worst animation ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it would be leaning a lot more towards rugby at that point. Let's scrum it up and lock shoulders and kind of push it back and forth. But I get that you have to at least put it out there and try it. I'm still keep the QB sneak. You just don't need a hand. I think that offense already gets a lot of help to help them get more points, things like that. They want to keep the drives going. Let's get rid of punts. I mean, I feel like they just keep the tush push so we can get rid of the punter. I mean, I feel like that's where they would kind of be leaning.
Ron Samble says that Diana Rossini is reporting there's growing support to ban it. To me, it was a rule forever. Like, I remember we played backyard football, you wasn't allowed to push. Like, hey, you can't push him in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. And we're not talking about end of a run, right? Like a guy gets, stood up and your old lineman's, giving him that little shove to get the extra yardage. We're talking about literally lining up by design.
Snap.
And pushing a guy. So, yeah, either you go back, a change would be going back to how it always has been. I believe that was mid-90s. That they changed that rule.
Yeah.
And forever it was like that, So
Greg says it's currently legal. It was illegal.
Right. So we'd be reverting back to kind of old school.
I think that would be
even better. You gotta change some kind of rule and allow the defense to load up and give them some kind of something to level the playing field. But I wouldn't be opposed if they got rid of it,
I think that's a perfect way to back up your point though. Is let's just bring it back to when we first go back to the Ice Bowl, like Brambo says here. The Ice Bowl touchdown shows the rule play. Running back has his hands up.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to those days. Why did we have to change it? Why did the offense need something
Bart
else?
Starr didn't need a push. Why does anyone else?
And it was frozen, Tim.
That's the thing. When you go to changing these rules, it kind of changes the outcome of history, right? That's the stuff that bothers me is you don't ever I hate asterisks, right? Like in baseball, people like to use them because of the steroids era and this and that. And look, I understand that's a real thing. That's a real issue. As they said, Babe Ruth did it on beer and hot dogs. He didn't do it on HGH, right? And Hank Aaron did it, cleaner than anyone, having the home run record forever. But when you start to change rules over decades like this, now all of a sudden, like Bramble says, the Ice Bowl TD shows the rule in play. The running back has his hands up. And Blake B points out, it's Chuck Mersini in the Ice Bowl threw his arms up. People thought he was signaling touchdown, but he was actually saying hey, I'm not helping him, because he thought he was getting the ball on a wedge play, right? Yep. And obviously you guys know the story. Bart Starr held on to it there. Drew D says, I saw some non-Packers people talking about the rule change, and they thought the Packers wrote the rule change up very well. Like it. Nice stuff. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a change, right? I mean, it'd be a change technically, but really we'd be reverting back to how it's always been, right?
Right. Yeah.
What was your take, Clay, on it? I missed it.
On the tush push, yeah. I wish they would revert it back, just so I want the rules to be the same over the last, whatever. And I understand the game has gotten better because of rule changes, but that's when you don't.
Mm-hmm. You don't really stats are going to go up because we're getting more games. We're getting, players are staying on the field more. They're getting more opportunities. It's a more passing league. But let's go back to the basics. I'd rather keep it football than turn it towards rugby.
Yep. And J. Cole makes a great point here. Crazy thing is, I think we defended that play the best out of any team. And I guarantee you that's what Mark Murphy went into that meeting saying too. Yeah. Is like, hey, look, we're not trying to ban this because we sucked at stopping it. We actually stopped it. Mm-hmm. And we used it too. Remember Tucker Kraft? But
I don't remember very often we pushed him. Most of the time he did that on.
Norris doesn't need any push, right?
Most of the time he did do that on, because you can't be a hypocrite if you're wanting that to go away. We can't be also being like, hey, let's just. And we were calling for it. Why don't we run the tush push? Why don't we just get the yard? It's like, how many teams would have kept those drives going if they didn't have that tush push as an option? Is it a cheat code in the game, to run that play to get a yard?
Yeah, right. That's a great point. Yeah, so I'd like to see it go back, me personally. And here's the thing, in terms of the Eagles, Jalen Hurts squats. What is it? He squats like 500 pounds or something insane.
I thought it was 600.
It was a 6. Like that dude. He don't need the running back pushing him. He's still going to be effective at it. So I don't think it's going to hinder them in that regard. But anyway, next rule proposal here: roster management changes. This is by the competition committee. What's proposed? Clubs can designate 2 players for return at the 53-man roster, cut down up from current limits. All right, postseason teams get 2 extra, quote, designated for return slots, raising the max from 8 to 10. All right, and then it says why it gives teams more flexibility to manage injuries and keep key players available. I'm on board with it.
Yep, let's do it.
Anything to expand the rosters, I'm okay with. Like, I never find myself going, man, I wish we had less roster spots, but I do find myself going, damn it, I wish we wouldn't have cut Christian Welch. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that a little bit of part of the game though, Clay? That's why we got to keep the numbers tight. The players got to bounce around. We got to keep everybody even. I don't want it to go.
Amelia, you're playing with the salary cap off on Madden. Let's be
honest. Oh, I know, you know it. I'm trading for it. I'm maxing that credit card out. Swipe it, but that would be my only pushback is, hey, I just wouldn't want it to be, out of hand where you're back to, all right, you're 90 at the spring is where we're at. No, we don't need that. But we also don't like how, when we had COVID there, the practice squad got a lot bigger. So those things, I mean, you do get benefits of it. I just don't want it to get out of hand.
I think that's the best way to go about it, though, is it still sticks with the same format. You're just given a little bit of flexibility with these designations. It's not like we're going from 53 to, 55 man or, we're not changing the amount of guys that can dress for game day or anything. Right. Just giving them a little more flexibility. I'm on board. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Coach Lynn said it was 600 pounds. So you guys were correct there. So that's crazy. A quarterback squatting that much money or that much, he's got that much money too. Probably has to squat that much weight.
Trying to lift up the money bags. That's
what is 600 pounds of money? Can we get a conversion there?
2-0 for this. Get on that for us, Bub. All right. Tiebreakers adjustment. Competition committee proposed. What's proposed adds, quote, point differential as the third tiebreaker for contract awards, likely meaning draft pick compensation or similar. What am I missing here? Why? Refines how ties are broken for administrative purposes, favoring teams with better scoring margin.
Gotcha. So like if the teams both are 8 and 9, and then you go by, I think that's you go down the line of where they're breaking that tie.
Got it. Okay. Good deal. Look, True D with the hard-hitting facts. 45,359 bills for 100 pounds. So let's times that by 6, gents. What would that be? I got to do it now. See, I got
do it on the calculator there.
Emilio said that's a big number. 43,359.
Yeah.
What, Emilio?
Oh,
times 6, right? 260,154.
Okay. Now, how much does a dollar bill weigh?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I can't do it.
And we did math in hour 2. I like it.
I haven't had a daddy soda this evening. I can't handle this tonight. Moving on. It's like doing a show with my sister's kids or something. It says, with voting just days away, these proposals could reshape the game's flow, strategy, and fairness. Whether you're a fan of more returns, fewer penalties, or keeping the tush push alive, the outcomes will set the tone for the 2025 season. What do you think? Any changes you'd love to see stick? Any parting thoughts there, gents? Anything? And again, shout out to United Bates, and again, happy belated birthday. He wanted to kind of
great.
Yeah, too. I'm glad he hit. Like, Bates should manage the show. I'm just saying.
Bates is definitely PTA family Mount Rushmore for sure.
No doubt about it. Yeah. So, any parting thoughts on that, gents, as we get ready to move on to the next topic?
Appreciate him bringing it up. No, I think that's a good. I think that's a good way to go about it. To a tiebreaker, though, let me ask you this: do you think that we need to get rid of ties in the NFL? Like how college just gets it taken care of.
Bro, it drives me insane. Like I try to think. Like we talk about with the penalties and the challenges. Like I think we all three agree. We believe the NFL wants that vagueness so they can kind of nudge things a little bit, right?
Yeah, or they may like that a team or two has a tie on their record just to
why? Now, look, I'm going to be a hypocrite here because what did I just get through saying? I want things to stay the same, right? And ties were a huge part of the game for the history of the game. Maybe that's why they're holding on to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
calling myself.
That's one. One I would love to see go away. I'd love to know who the hell is the game.
I just wanted to get your take. That was it.
I appreciate you got my blood pressure up. So, all right. So here's the news of the day. If you guys are on Patreon, you probably already read this, which that's one of the perks of being in the Patreon group. You get to see stuff that we're going to be talking about on the show early. As we're kind of feeding these articles into the system. And there's a lot of cool perks to join the Patreon group. Just scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. If you're just a member of one of the 3 tiers, the cheapest tier, $3, you get access to everything on the site. We're also going to be uploading videos. Thanks for Chalk Talk moving forward. We do giveaways. We're actually giving away an autographed Mason Crosby card with a piece of a jersey patch on it. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. So if you are a member of at least the $3 tier on Patreon by midnight tonight, we'll make sure your name goes on that wheel, and we're going to draw that live on the air. We just mailed off 2 autographed Lucas Van Ness jerseys to 2 lucky winners that were supporting the show in that regard. It also includes YouTube members, but I always tell people, man, for $3 you get a lot more bang for your buck being on the Patreon group as opposed to a YouTube member. So
that's a clearance rack deal right there. The Patreon group.
All right, so here we go, gents. The news of the day, breaking news. Packers reportedly scheduled top 30 visit with Georgia edge defender. Say it for me, Mykel.
Basically Mykel.
Here's the guy.
Just say it like you've been drinking, right? Mykel.
Right.
Mykel Williams out of Georgia. So obviously a higher touted prospect. This is somebody you're looking at for the 23rd pick. I don't think he's going to last much longer than that, but in the write-up, put the Green Bay Packers reportedly scheduled a top 30 visit with Georgia edge rusher Mykel Williams. According to sources cited by ESPN, marking him as a prime target for the 2025 NFL Draft. Williams currently slotted at the number 22 spot on our PTA big board, impressed at the NFL Combine with his 6'5", 260-pound frame and 34-inch arms, offering the Packers a dynamic edge defender with the potential to elevate their pass rush alongside Rashawn Gary. So let's go back where it started. Could you imagine lining up across from him in high school, Emilio?
Thick.
One pissed off kid right there, don't I?
Yeah, flip the defense. All right, I'm coach. I'm going in motion. I got motion over here.
I feel you, Tim. That's the same vibe right there, man. All right, scouting report coming out of high school. A 5-star recruit from Hardaway High School in Columbus, Georgia. Mykel Williams entered the 2022 class as a top-tier talent, standing 6'5", 245 pounds. He blended size with speed, reportedly clocking a 4.6 40-yard dash. His senior tape highlighted a relentless motor, explosives get off, and raw power, making him Georgia's number 2 prospect. Anybody knows anything about Georgia, man, they're churning out the prospects. Number 2 prospect in Georgia, the number 7 overall player per 24/7 Sports. Initially committed to USC, he flipped to Georgia, where recruiters saw him as a future star with rare physical tools. So he was at USC, flipped to Georgia. Here are his college stats. Williams' 3 seasons at Georgia showcased steady growth within a stacked defensive line. As a freshman in 2022, he recorded 28 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 6.5 tackles for a loss in 13 games, contributing to a national championship. His sophomore, so he had 4.5 sacks as a freshman on a national championship team. That's pretty wild. His sophomore year in 2023, he saw 18 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 7 tackles for a loss across 13 appearances, earning second-team All-SEC honors in 2024 despite an early ankle injury. All right, so this is where we're going to get an injury report here in a second as well with the scouting report. In 2024, despite an early ankle injury, he posted 21 tackles, 5 sacks, and 9 tackles for a loss in 13 games, nabbing second-team All-SEC. Career totals: 67 tackles, 14 sacks, 22.5 tackles for a loss, and 3 forced fumbles over 39 games. Now, here is PFF grades, and I think I can read these. They're a little bit small. In 2024, he finished with a 78.4 grade. I think in 2023, that's a 78.7. It might be a 76.7. And then in 2022, he had a 71.5. So, I mean, he's gotten better pretty much every year. He's stabilized the last 2 years, looks pretty solid across the board. He's a physical freak. Look at that run defense grade, guys. 82.9 run defense grade.
Yep.
So
15 hurries last year also, and 2 batted balls,
There you go.
And
good stuff.
With the injury, like you said, having a little bit of a injury issue, he still, I think 2024 might have been his best year.
Yeah. What do you think so far, Emilio?
Not mad at it. A dude at a talented school that we've gone back to many times. For a linebacker, for a D lineman, might as well hit up the edge while we're at it. So I'm not opposed.
Yeah. All right. So it says detailed scouting report entering the draft. Measured at 6'5", 260 pounds at the combine, William boasts a sculpted build with 34-inch arms and untapped athletic potential. Post-injury, he ran a 4.73 40 at Georgia Pro Day, but pre-ankle sprain estimates had him at a sub 4.6 with a 36-inch vert. In pass rush situations, he leverages a quick first step and devastating bull rush. I'm telling you, speed to power, one of the things that Greg Cosell talks about all the time. You've got to be able to rush the quarterback with power.
You have to.
It's the must-have. He said every tackle I talk to when I go to these tackle clinics, these offensive line clinics all over the place, they say, yeah, you better be able to bull me. You better be able to bull me because you're not going to beat me with finesse. You're not going to beat me with these fancy pass rush.
Chops, spin moves, rolls, try to bend.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you can win with power, you can play off of that. I think one of Rashawn Gary's problems is he wins with power. And listen, a pass rush move is that straight arm. I'm telling you, Rashawn Gary's got one of the best straight arms. He'll literally just get underneath the shoulder pad and just lock out and use his power to drive them straight back. I think the problem with Gary is you see him in the offseason, he's working on the feet, he's working on the hands, he's working on the
squat and swim, and
pin your damn ears back and go get that dude, because that's what you're good at doing, right? And I don't think it's a coincidence either. Rebrovich gets fired, right? He gets let go. Why? You know, why did the pass rush take a step back as well? You saw, I mean, there's just a lot of different things that come into play here for sure. Chuck in the chat, yeah, Goody likes his Georgia prospects. There's no two ways about it.
Especially this one. He's barely 21. Uh-oh. Goody DiCaprio.
6'5", 260. I'm flying, Jack.
We got to cut that. We got to clip that one for sure. So in pass rush situations, he leverages the first quick step and devastating bull rush using length to keep blockers at bay. His versatility, lining up from a 3-tech to a wide 9, makes him a fit for Green Bay's aggressive 4-3 scheme. While his run defense is stout, setting the edge with authority, his pass rush repertoire needs refinement beyond power moves. A full recovery could unlock a top-tier edge with all-pro upside. So here's the RAS. It's somewhat incomplete, but again, his height was a little over 6'5", scoring him a 9. His weight was 260, scoring a 5.29. He actually came in at 260, but he played last year at 265, 270-ish. So
thick.
He was trying to cut down weight, probably because of the ankle, and he wanted to make sure he could help recompensate for that 40-yard dash. But he ended up running a 4.73, which at his size scored an 8.15. 20-yard split was a 2.76. 10-yard split was a 1.65. So it looks like the strongest part of that 40-yard dash was the top-end speed, right? So once he got cruising. There was no bench press, no agility rating, and no explosive testing there. What do y'all think about the RAS? I mean, there's not a whole lot to glean there, but I could see him. When you watch the tape, he looks more like a 4.6 guy than a 4.7 guy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I love that he was a solid 6'5". I love that he filled that out and that wasn't a fake number. Look how big his hands are 10 and a quarter, and his arms are 34 and almost a half. When we were talking about Chris Paul being at about 30 and 3/4. So he's got another 4 inches compared to a linebacker, and we're back to arm length talk. But it's for a DN, I think a little bit more, a little bit more necessary number just to take a peek at. And then to his injury, Greg Rice answering his own question after some research, said he had tightrope ankle surgery. The failure rate for tightrope fixation is around 4%. And finishing it off, I thought ankles were hard to fix, but it seems the opposite. So again, it's kind of that same thing like Ravel. If you get him in the building, or at least you watch enough tape, he's produced enough. At some point, someone's going to get hurt. At some point, someone's going to get injured. I tore my ACL. I kept running on it afterwards. Like you're going to have to play at some point through an injury or post injury.
And AFAM went on to say, Greg, stop trying to grab your own ankles. Look at Tim, how disgusted he is in this group. Tim, you're going to have to keep him in check, man. I can't do it. I can't.
I can't either.
All we can do is not put the chat on the screen, which I kind of enjoy doing it, to be honest. So, all right, moving along. Injury and character concerns. Williams suffered a high ankle sprain in Georgia's 2024 opener against Clemson, missing 2 games and playing limited snaps early. He bounced back late in the season, and recent updates show him hitting 20 miles per hour in rehab sprints, per NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, with clearance expected by summer. A 2023 toe injury kept him out of the spring practice, but he's avoided major setbacks otherwise. Off the field, Williams is a model prospect, high football IQ, praised by Kirby Smart for leadership, and no character concerns. His resilience through injuries only enhances his profile. So
I think he's running out of the first.
Yeah, those last 2 sentences were key.
Yeah,
definitely. And then you got draft projection. Williams' draft stock rides a wave of pre-injury hype and post-injury caution. Before the ankle issue, he was a top 10 lock. All right. Now he's a late first-round consensus, with ESPN's Phil Yates ranking him number 3 among edges and number 20 overall. We got him in a 22 spot. That's pretty cool, right? Phil Yates, we don't even have him on our board. So that's really neat. There's that sandwich again. Bleacher Report slots him at number 22. The Packers picking at 23 could pair him with Rashawn Gary to form a fearsome duo, though teams like the Falcons at number 15 or Steelers at number 19 might jump earlier. His upside screams day 1 starter, but if injury concerns linger, he could slip to early day 2, unlikely past pick 35, given the premium on edge talent.
Yeah.
What do y'all think here?
Yeah, we're not grabbing him in the first round. We're not grabbing him, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, he's not going to be there at 54. What's our second round? Oh, here it is on the ticker. 54. Look at that. Yeah, 54. Yeah, I don't think he makes it there. I don't think he makes it to 23. honestly. And I don't think Goody's going to move up, to grab him.
So we're seeing a multitude of players now, right? That's like, man, if they fall to us, Emilio, yeah, let's take them. But we keep like Jahdae Barron's like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes top 10, Like you're seeing this with Williams, with Mykel Williams. If he proves to be healthy, and I'm sure he'll get other top 30 visits, and he goes in and hey, look, they like what they see. He may go top 10 too. Who knows, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and taking a Georgia guy's right up Goody's playbook, so I wouldn't put that past.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it
Goody
past.
likes Georgia guys? Are you sure?
Especially a 6'5" one with 82-inch wingspan that's ready to just go play edge with a bull rush. I mean, let's go ahead and line up Rashawn, LVN. You rotate in D Wyatt. I mean,
yep.
Yeah. Greg Rice says Mykel Williams edge in the 15th spot for PFF and NFL mock draft database. There you go. So,
and he's not even projected to anybody on mock draft database. Like everybody else on edge from Abdul all the way down to Nick Scorton are projected to a team. He's the only one that's not.
Yeah. Weed says in the chat, yeah, he probably doesn't make it to 23. Respect Orange is saying I'll be surprised if he's there.
Asking the chat this, would you take him if he's at 23? Yes or no?
Who else is on the board?
Who said that?
No, I'm asking the chat right now.
Right.
Y or N, or just let me know what you guys think. Are you taking him at 23 if he falls?
Right. Let me put it this way. We've got him again. Let me go ahead and drop this down, and we'll get the board back up. We're going to kind of troubleshoot this together here, see what we got. So if you look at Mykel Williams here in the 22 spot for us, right? There's one spot placeholder. There's a reason it's showing 23. Let's say the board falls exactly how we expect it, or the draft night falls just like our board, okay? Which means when we pick at 23, let's say Mykel Williams is the best available on our board when we pick at 23. Would you take it? That's the way we need to ask that, right? Because like Tim said, who else is on the board? I mean,
yeah,
is Kenneth Grant sitting there?
Yeah, is Walter Nolan still on the board?
Right. So all those things come into play for sure. And it is interesting to see that the Packers have been interested in Walter Nolan. He's in the 18 spot. Mykel Williams is in the 22 spot. And that was a top 30 visit there. Shamar Stewart was a top 30 visit. What we say about him? He might drop a little bit, right? Because of his rawness. So, and then of course you got James Pierce Jr. is another one. One thing's for sure. Goody's got his eyes on those edge defenders in the first round, don't he? Like it seems like it. Yeah. It seems like that's where he's now. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a handful of players at other positions that he don't even need to scout. Like, hey, we got our information. We know they're the dude at 23. That could be the case too. But very interesting. Drew D says, I noticed the Packers. Thank you for the super chat, Drew. I noticed the Packers have a lot of visits with first rounders. That tells me they aren't sure how it will play out and want to nail that top pick. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
I agree.
And it kind of, maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of makes me feel like there's very, very little chance they trade out. Because if they were going to trade out, you might see them doing top 30 visits with, late first, early seconds type guys, right? So, but again, that's assuming our board looks similar to Goody's. It may look night and day, right? But
Goody got a hold of our board, he would just close the laptop and slide it back to us and say thanks, but no thanks.
He'd say, you're so cute. He'd pat you on the head. Get the hell
nicely out. Nicely done. You guys can go ahead and get out of
here. Exactly. All right, let's see here. Greg Rice in the chat says, I hope they change something in trying to get the first round pick right. Yeah, that's been a big conversation of how many times they've missed on the first round here recently. I don't call LVN a miss yet. He could very well be. He finished with, I want to say, an 11% pressure rate, according to Next Gen Stats over at NFL Pro. So I can't write him off as a miss yet. Now, you'd like to get a lot more out of the what pick was that? Do you guys remember? Was that
LVN? 13?
Yeah, 13. That feels like if we compare it across the board here, that would suggest if we, at 13, and if the draft was completely the same this year as it was the year we took LVN, we would get someone like a Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan, Shamar Stewart, edge out of Texas A&M, Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas, Shador Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, Colston Loveland, tight end, Walter Nolan, Emeka Egbuka, we've talked extensively about him, right?
Yep.
Mike Green, Jahad Campbell, folks like that. I like to think that, someone up there around that 13 mark, like a Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr., Kelvin Banks, or Kenneth Grant.
Jahdae Barron,
you would expect them to play a little better than LVN has, but you've also got to take into consideration LVN can only play the snaps he's given, right?
Yep.
And when we do that heavy rotation at edge, like he finished with over an 11%, pressure rate. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because we went to the Tennessee game, Emilio. I just remember him. He terrorized. Absolutely terrorized Will Levis.
I still stand on the fact of you need to give these guys 3 years, and then that working into your 4th year, if it's going to happen or not. I mean, at least then you can say, all right, we gave him a completely fair option. If it was injured the first year, let's get him another year, then we can move on. You already have him on the contract. Why worry about it? Why stress about getting him off the books? I mean, the year after you draft him because you think he's terrible. Like, I don't get that. So let's keep him for the 4 we have it. Let's move forward with it. And then to those first round picks, I think we ran down those numbers one time, but we had only 2 first round picks in the top 10 since like the 2000. It was like BJ and Clay Matthews were the 2 picks. And then you say that we miss on everybody else. We're also picking in the 20s most of the time because
that's a big part
because we're winning. I mean,
right. That's a big part. That's where LVN, like, I understand the frustration with people.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that.
And I'm not off of him. I'm with you, Emilio. I'm like, hey, let's see what he does this year. This is year 3, right? But yeah, the rest of them, you're spot on, man. Like Tim, what he's talking about, you're taking guys toward the back end of the first round. You can't expect them to just go out there and be absolute studs. We hit on guys in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all throughout the draft, right? Tucker Kraft was a 3rd round pick. Who was it? Zach Tom was a 4th rounder, I believe, right? Evan Williams was a 4th rounder. Obviously, you got Edgerrin Cooper in the 2nd. But that first round is kind of that we know these guys aren't going to be around later in the draft. And I think that's typically where you get into that ball clay type mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has me kind of like thinking, I was kind of in the camp of Goody might trade here. This is great. Weed right here in the chat. I think it's a better chance they trade up than down. And that's kind of where my head's been kind of going based on these visits and what we're starting to see is like for all the talk about Goody trading out of that first round pick, I think he may just move up if he's, like you said, if he's got high grades on these guys, we're meeting with a lot of first round potential picks. There may be somebody that he's in love with and, he's willing to move up in that first round and try and, get over the first round curse that these fans seem to think that we have with draft picks. So I think there's a chance it could happen. For the longest time, I thought he was going to trade back and load up, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. But I think there's just as much of an argument that Goody might try to move up from 23, move into that 15 range or 16 or something.
Right. But to your first thought, Tim, of them staying back, even if they go back 3 spots, 2-3 spots, and there's still like kind of the Jaden Reed effect where you have this many edge defenders you've already looked at, you're ready to go. There's still 3 on the board. Let's go back 2 and go with, we're completely fine with taking any of these 3. That's still the, so I think
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Like you don't have to trading back doesn't mean you're necessarily out of the first round.
Right.
You could trade down to the bottom of it.
We're going to stress when we see the and then the trade has happened. We're going to be, all right, that's it. We're out of the first. It was terrible. We're only going to go back 1 spot, and we're going to pick up three picks because Goody just told him it's the best idea.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Weed in the chat said, if you want to cut LVN, compare Trey Hendrickson's first 3 years to LVN's first 2 years. Very, very good point. If that's what you're going off of, you would have cut Trey Hendrickson, and he never would have turned into the player that he did. Now, the LVN and the Goody haters, they do not want to hear that. That's for sure. So, because that was the guy that they were all stomping on the table for all off season long. So, again, it's not everybody. I've got to be better at not trying to group all fans into the same, you know what I mean? But they're out there. There's no doubt about it. All right. Anything else, guys? I know Keith hopped in here and says, great show as usual, guys. Hey, thank you so much, Keith. Thanks for making us a part of your evening here, buddy. Anything else another prospect y'all want to look at here? We got a couple minutes, or we can wrap it up either way, man.
I don't really have anyone on the.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. All right.
Nobody that I don't think we've already talked about.
Right.
I'm fixated on edge now. We've been talking about edge.
Yeah.
I think
we've talked. Full circle, Tim.
Yeah. I mean, we broke down, Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart, what's the kid from Boston College? Ezeraku, Donovan Ezeraku. That's another one.
Yeah.
Where's he on our board, Ezeraku?
Ezeraku, I just seen him. We've got Ezeraku in the 28 spot, Tim, and the Packers did meet with him. Obviously, got ties to Jeff Hafley. I'm pretty sure that he didn't transfer in. He played under half.
Yep.
So I'd be okay with that at 23. That's in that range, right? It's in that ballpark. And when you get in that same range of that cluster of guys where you go, hey, these guys are pretty much in the same tier or within one tier of each other, you go, okay, is there one that really sticks out to you? Whether it's work ethic or it's just maybe the handful of tools that you got, whatever it is, right? That I could see Ezeraku being one for sure.
26 hurries, 20 quarterback hits, 14 sacks. Yeah, he's a guy. There's a guy.
Yeah. What do you think about Emilio? Would be okay with Ezeraku at 23?
Yeah, I think that's why you're going to go ahead and spread out your information net. You're going to cast that net and figure out all the edge defenders, see who you can get an eye on in person, see what you can get information-wise, and kind of tighten that thing up and see on draft day at pick 20, where are we? At pick 21, where are we? Do we need to move up? Are we liking what's going to happen if we move back? And then play the phone game. I think that he's probably already calling the 3 or 4 AFC teams that are behind us, trying to figure out if we want to trade to them or anybody in the NFC, not in the North, that we can, maybe flip something with.
Yeah, Judy asked a question here. Omar Norman Lott, that's the name, or that's his name. Are you guys interested in him in the second round?
UTD line.
Yep.
I remember when we looked at, we had a graphic that showed pass rush and pass rush win. I can't remember what all was on it. Let me see if it's. I think we got rid of it. We did get rid of it. We ran out of space. Surprise, right? But anyway, my board's got him a little bit lower here. We got him in the 124 spot, Drew, and here's why he's there. In PFF in 2023, he was 227th at his position. In 2040, dropped all the way to 327th at his position. PFF Big Board had him in the 50 spot. Consensus Big Board had him 63. Kyle Krabs had him 58. Dane Brugler had him 78. And his RAS was he got 0 points, so it was at least less than a 7. So it doesn't seem to have elite athletic traits. The PFF did not grade him very well. The thing that if we remove those PFF grades, he would be a second-round pick on our board. Right, Emilio? I mean, you'd be averaging out 50, 63, 58, and 78. So the PFF's what brings him down so far for us. So that's where we got him, Drew. And again, it doesn't mean he's not a second-round talent. It's just how we build the board. And I'm going to ride this out too, man. I think it's awesome. And I got to get your all's take on several players, and we'll do this some other time, obviously. We got a lot of players that are being held down on the board that are being ranked really, really high right now, because the consensus big board had them so low at the end of the football season. So we need to make a decision. Hey, do we want to put an updated number, maybe meet in the middle on that number? We'll talk about that at a later time. We got plenty of time as the RAS stuff is going to begin to finalize a little bit more. I would say by April 8th or 9th, definitely by April 10th, we should be able to get all of the information in other than Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. That usually comes just a couple of days before the draft starts. So
the only thing I would just say about Omar is that he didn't play a bunch. He played, but we're looking at about 200 snaps a season. Around 600 and change total. His pass rush grade at 81.6, run defense of a 68.1, true pass set 88.3, pass rush win rate of an 18%, run stop rate of a 6%. They and Tennessee's defense, they would always flip to the strength. So they would that's how kind of James Pierce, they sort of get him alone on the wide 9. That way you didn't have to fight through a tight end or anything. You can kind of just tee off on the tackle. So that defense is always flipping if there's a motion happening to get him to strength.
Right. Judy says your board was very good last year. It was. And here's the thing, like the way that we set it up, so it really harnesses all the buzz that goes into the draft season. I feel like we get the majority of them right, but some of those late risers are legit, You know, so that's the ones we're going to miss on. So you'll see a handful of those, but for the most part, I think it's going to be. And here's what's awesome: we're going to be looking back next year, and we're going to be going. I know, Emilio, we're going to be diving into it again next year. Going, it's even better this year. Like we're going to
in a month or two from now, we're going to be like, why didn't we do it like this? We need to put this column in there next year. And I'm already thinking maybe a height weight column. I know that's been asked for a lot. We reference it a lot. The issue is just trying to carry that over when we're bringing it across. Do we need it now and all that? But no, I do. I'm excited to always kind of add to it. We're going to add to it just talking about this next step. So
yeah, definitely. Tim, you got any parting thoughts, sir?
Yeah, just again on edge defender, Quandarius Robinson out of Bama, a good probably fourth, maybe late third, early fourth, possibly fifth round guy. If you're looking for some mid value, been watching some tape on him. He's kind of a work in progress, but I think that could be a mid round steal there at edge.
That's interesting because that's a perfect example, Tim. On our board, we got him in the 223 spot. He was 32nd at his position in 2024. He was 90th on the PFF big board. That's going, hey, man, that's going to put him in the ballpark of second to third rounder, right, with those two numbers. But the consensus big board at the end of the college football season had him in the 330 spot. That's what's pulling him down.
He only played 9 games last year, too, so I don't know if he's maybe he's coming off injury or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I just can't let us leave. But really quickly, I know we're over. Desmond Watson out of Florida, 6'6", 464 pounds.
Did you say 460 pounds?
No, he ain't thick. This man's dangerously obese is what's going on.
Bench 225, 36 times. Are we taking him or are we taking him as a UDFA? Are we pulling the trigger in the 7th round? What are we doing?
Emilio. Sounds like a created character on college football. That's what it sounds like.
I can't even find him on PFF.
He's not on there. He had his the Florida had their pro day on there today. So
listen, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, you go. I was trying to pull up.
Who?
Quandarius Robinson that Tim mentioned, right?
Yeah.
330 is the number we got on the consensus big board. Currently, he is sitting in, go back here. They call him K Robinson. It looks like QUE, but 181 is where he's at. He peaked at 110. You see what I'm saying, Tim? Like that's what's pulling him down. Should we put in the 181 right now for him? Is that one of those that we go, yeah, probably should do it or no? What do you think?
I don't know. I'd leave that up to Emilio, the board expert here, because I'm doing a little just a read on him real quick on his profile. I mean, there's a lot to like, and then there's a lot to be desired too. So I don't know. PFF's got him at 119 right now. So
and the number we have in is 90. So our number is actually a little better than that.
Actually higher, yeah.
I was going to say the only thing we could do, we can throw in another column and kind of weight it if we really need to when we go back and look at these guys, but we can dive into that later on.
Yeah, cool. Just something to think about. And I want to get the chat's take. Like everybody in the Patreon group, let me know what y'all think about that. Would y'all rather us some of those? Not all of them. We're not going to do all of them. We're just going to do a handful that, like, man, the consensus big board early grade or early ranking is really pulling them down. We'll get your all's take on it too. So we'll see what everybody says in there. So again, if you want to be entered into the giveaway for the autographed Mason Crosby card, make sure you're a member on Patreon by midnight tonight. Just a $3 membership.
Up there by Emilio's head there.
Yeah, as he's laughing.
QR code. There it is. There you go. Here's a guy.
That guy's blood type is Rocky Road.
Yeah, with that Rocky Road.
I'm not a doctor.
That Rocky Road, he's running a 5.9340 with a
blazing speed,
25-inch vert.
Whew.
Oh man!
Hey, he over 400 pounds. He ran a sub 10 second.
Over 450, Tim.
Yeah,
over
man.
450 pounds. I want to see Jalen Hurts squat him. You know what I'm saying?
What's his name again, Amelia? We're so far over right now. What's his name again?
Desmond Watson.
Desmond. That's one of the first names that popped up. That's hilarious. Like everybody's Googling this cat right now. Let me get you guys. Oh my God.
That is, I mean, he is.
I thought Deion Walker was big. Look at this
that's
guy.
An earth mover. I mean, that is a DA
earth mover. That's an earth
DA,
crusher.
That's a DA cat dozer just cleaning up the zero gap.
No, this dude looks like a cook down at the Waffle House, bro. Like, I'm not even lying. Tim, what do you see this cat, bro? We're deleting an image just so we can get this.
You want to run the tush push? We got a player for him.
That's the ass mask. That ain't the push push, whatever. I mean, this is. What do you guys see this, Tim? This
I mean, him and our boy at the Packers game hanging over the bar. Remember our belly boy hanging over the bar?
Oh, no, he looks like Brad Pitt compared to this cat. Are you kidding me? Bro, look at this. Bang. Look at them legs, boys.
Here's the guy.
Look at the guy in the background. He's like, I can't even watch.
Yeah, but check it. Higher vertical than Tom Brady.
No way.
Put it on the ticker.
Put it on the ticker.
Oh my gosh.
Of course that's true, right? The greatest quarterback in the history of the game. This dude has a higher vertical than Okay. If you listen real close, you can hear that Jordan symbol going. It's really tight there, boys. Really tight. I can't do this show. I'm done. This show sucks.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Respect oranges more rolls than a bakery, boys. All right. That's it. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Don't know why you do, but we're very thankful for it. So make sure you hit like, hit subscribe. We'll see y'all in the morning at 8:30 a.m. Central for a little Good Morning Lambeau. We'll get in here and talk some more draft. We got a couple other articles. So actually, a little teaser just so you know what we're talking about. We're going to continue with the edge theme, the top 7 edge defender breakdown, according to our board. We'll give you all the height, weight, all that stuff, kind of how they stack up against each other. And we'll go with that in the morning. We'll kick off there. We might get to some offensive line talk as well. So if you guys want to get a sneak peek of that in the Patreon group, just make sure you're in there, and you can go right there on the homepage. You'll find it. The title is Top 7 Edge Defender Breakdown. Go give it a look, and we'll talk about it in the morning. Everybody have a good night. Take care. And
we go. We're out. Bye, guys.